What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Heat Report. Welcome back to a brand new video on this channel where we talk all things Miami Heat basketball. Now, if you guys are wondering why this video is on the Heat Report, let me explain it to you real quick. I really wanted to make a mock draft video ever since the draft lottery order came out, and that's what I am doing right now. And I do have a second channel, but a lot of you guys in the comment section of my videos previously have been talking about me posting more NBA related content, not just Heat content, and I really wanted to do that on this channel because a lot more people watch on this channel than on my second channel, which I think only a handful of people watch that. So if I can get more people to enjoy my content, I will gladly do it. Which is why I'm uploading on my main channel. Now this channel is gonna be primarily about Heat basketball, but my plan is to sprinkle in some NBA content, NBA related content, because I am an NBA fan first and foremost. So hopefully you guys like that idea. If you guys do not, if you guys think this should only be for Heat basketball, please let me know down in the comment section below. I'll see how this video is taken by the fans, the audience, whoever. And if you guys think I should just separate NBA basketball and Heat basketball on two different channels, I will go back to that. I just wanted to see how the fans view this video and how they take it. So hopefully you guys understand that. But we are here with my first edition of the 2021 NBA mock draft. Now this was an idea I had ever since the lottery results came out. I've been a big fan of college basketball. Some of you guys probably will know that, and I really wanted to do this mock draft ever since the lottery results came out. It was a very interesting lottery to watch. Obviously, the Pistons got the #1 pick, and then all the way down to the Warriors with the 14th pick. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun draft. We're not that far away. The finals are right around the corner, and right after that is the draft. So I'm super excited. This is my favorite time of the year because college basketball I absolutely love. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As usual, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, comment down below. If you guys are Heat fans or not, that to me doesn't really matter. NBA fans are always welcome on this channel. So drop a like, subscribe if you're new as usual, and comment down below what your thoughts are about this video, any video suggestions in the future, and also whether you guys might want me to split the NBA videos on another channel, or do you want me to keep the NBA videos on this channel sprinkled in with the majority of the Heat videos. So I know that was a lot of information to take in, but hopefully you guys all understood what I was saying. Let's get right into it though. So with the #1 overall pick, I don't think this is anything to discuss about. The Detroit Pistons are going to take Cade Cunningham. Now before we even get into 2 through 14, this is what I would do if I was a GM, not what I'm predicting the GMs to do for each team. So just put me in the GM hat for each team. This is what I would do if I was each team, my suggestions. So obviously I'm suggesting Cade Cunningham to go #1 to the Pistons. He's overall the best prospect. He's described as a once-in-a-generation talent by many. He's a very good player, man, and the Pistons are getting a good one. I'm super excited for the Pistons, and they deserve it. They had an amazing draft last year. Obviously drafted Killian Hayes in the first 10 picks, 7th pick, I'm pretty sure. Did not really go as well as planned, but majority of that was due to him being injured. I still think he has a lot of a big future ahead of him. Isaiah Stewart and Saddiq Bey were two surprises for a lot of people. Saddiq Bey, I was a big fan of coming out of Villanova. Isaiah Stewart, I did not expect what he did. I thought he came in and looked amazing, but I definitely expected Saddiq Bey to be one of the steals of the draft, and he was. And he was the 19th pick. He's going to be one of the best 3-and-D players in this league soon, and he has a very bright future. And it's only right that they get rewarded by the best prospect in this draft, and that's Cade Cunningham. So congratulations, Detroit. You guys get Cade Cunningham unless you guys make a trade somehow. At #2, the Houston Rockets are picking, and I personally, this could go one of two ways. I don't really think Jalen Suggs is in the mix. I think this is either between Evan Mobley and Jalen Green. If I were them, though, I would take Evan Mobley. I think that pairing him and Christian Wood in the front court is a very good idea. I think he is overall the second best prospect in this draft, and I think if you're a team like the Rockets who don't really have anything else on your team that's worth like any young assets, like apart from Kevin Porter Jr. and Christian Wood, who is young but he's not like a youth player. I think he's already over 25. if I'm not mistaken. Christian Wood he came into the league a little bit later than a lot of people expected. So yeah, I don't think Christian Wood is, you know, a youth piece. He's a very good player for them. He's probably their best player, but I don't think he's a, you know, young player by any means. He's 25 years old exactly. He's gonna turn 26, I think next year or this year. So yeah, apart from Kevin Porter Jr., they don't really have any youth movement going on, and I think Evan Mobley is the best player available, and they have to take him, in my opinion. Jalen Green would be nice, but I think Jalen Green is a big risk to take, because I think he's the most boom or bust player in this draft, and I'll get to him later when I reveal who I have him going to. But I think pairing Evan Mobley and Christian Wood in the front court sounds like a great idea for them, and then, you know, they'll just build on from there. I think the Rockets will be winners walking away with Evan Mobley or Jalen Green, depending on who they take. At number 3, the Cleveland Cavaliers are on the clock, and I have them taking Jalen Green out of the G League. I think that this is the perfect situation for him. Now, obviously, a lot of people will be like, well, they already have Sexton and Garland. What are they going to do with Jalen Green? My prediction is that Colin Sexton is probably going to get traded because he's been on the trade block for a couple of weeks now. I think he's gone. I don't think he's going to be on the team anymore. And yeah, man, I just think that replacing Colin Sexton with Jalen Green is a really good idea, because Jalen Green is actually a shooting guard. The Cavs had Sexton and Garland playing together when they were both point guards. None of them had ever played shooting guard in their life. I would not want the Cavs to make that same mistake by taking Jalen Suggs. Not saying that Jalen Suggs is not going to be a good player, because he is, but he's a point guard and Jalen Green is a shooting guard, and you have defined roles for each of them. Jalen Green will come onto the Cavs. He'll be a very, very, very good scorer. He's a bucket. He's I think the best scorer in this draft. He's a highlight reel. Compare him a lot to Zach LaVine, but his game is very, very, you know, up and down, that it could either be Zach LaVine or it could either be like a Malik Monk, because a Malik Monk was like this coming out of college, or like a OJ Mayo was like this coming out of college. So it could be either end of the spectrum, and hopefully for the Cavs it's the former. So I have the Cavs taking Jalen Green at number 3. At number 4, I have the Raptors taking Jalen Suggs. Now, I think Jalen Suggs probably doesn't have the potential as the top 3 guys do, but I still think that he can be a very good player. I think Jalen Suggs is probably the guy who's probably the most NBA ready. He's the most, you know, win now player. If you're looking for a team that's going to be making the playoffs soon, I think Jalen Suggs is probably the guy to have on your team, because I think he elevates your team a lot, and I think he is as good as, you know, your team can be early on. Like, I think he's probably going to be the guy who's going to come in and have a chance of winning Rookie of the Year, because he's not, you know, a project. He's not a guy who's going to take time to develop. He's going to be a guy who's going to come in right away and contribute to a team. The Raptors, you know, who are in foreign territory, they haven't been in the lottery for a while now. If they take him, you know, I think that's a very good Kyle Lowry replacement, and I think he's going to come in right away and fill that void. Now, I know a lot of Raptors fans want a wing player, wing big, but I think a lineup of Jalen Suggs, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, or Gary Trent, depending on whichever, and then you have Pascal Siakam, you have Chris Boucher. I think that's a very good lineup for them. So I would take Jalen Suggs if I'm the Raptors here. At number 5, we have the Orlando Magic, and then here I have them taking Jonathan Kuminga out of the G League as well. I think that he is probably the biggest project in this draft. He's very, very raw, but he's a really, really explosive athlete. You know, he's very inefficient because his shot is not fully developed yet, but I still think that, you know, with time, which is what Orlando has, I think, you know, they could develop his shot. And I think that he's a very good defender in a defensive lineup of, you know, you have him out there, you have Jonathan Isaac out there, and you have like a Mo Bamba out there. That's a very good defensive front court right there. You know, they're very long, athletic players that could set up the Magic's defense for the future. So I think Jonathan Kuminga would come in and fit the Magic right away. I love that pick for the Orlando Magic, so I have him going 5 to the Magic. There's nothing more that needs to be explained. At number 6, Scotty Barnes is sitting right there, and I think the Thunder should pick him up right away. I think he's a wing player that will really, really help their team. They have Shea and Theo Maledon. I would not really expect them to take, you know, there's no really good point guard available next. They're all really shooting guards. And they have one of the best up-and-coming shooting guards in the NBA, so that doesn't really make sense. Lou Dort is good. And I think Lou Dort and Scotty Barnes can play together. Scotty Barnes can play the 4 because they don't really have a power forward like that. Like, I think Pokusevski showed some flashes, but I don't think, if you have a guy like Scotty Barnes available, I don't think Lou Dort or Prokushevsky are stopping me from taking him. But if I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I'm probably not taking a DaVon Mitchell or someone like that, because he is on his way to becoming an all-star. So yeah, Scotty Barnes, he's a guy that he's a very, very high IQ player. He's a very good playmaker. His ball handling and playmaking is very, very impressive for his size. A lot of people see him as a Draymond Green. I like that as well. Kind of in that mix between a Draymond Green, Aaron Gordon. He's a very, very good player, man. He's one of my favorite players coming out of this draft. I have about 5 or 6 that I do every year that I pin as my favorites. He is one of them. So Scotty Barnes at 6 of the Thunder, I think, is a match made in heaven. At 7, I have another point forward type player going to the Golden State Warriors. Now, I was actually in the camp of the Warriors moving their picks to get some win now, guys. I don't know who they would trade for, but maybe I think they should explore the market. If they had to draft, though, I would select Jaylen Johnson out of Duke. Now, Jaylen Johnson, I'm pretty sure, opted out of his college year after playing a couple games. I think he sat out for the rest of the season with something. So he didn't really show everything in college, but he showed enough for me to consider him a lottery pick, and he definitely is. I think Jaylen Johnson is a guy with tremendous upside. Shooting is a bit questionable. I think that's his only weakness, if you want to say, because he still shot about 44% from 3 in college. But he's such a force. He's very athletic. He's a guy that can be a point forward. And a lot of people, chose to leave him open from the 3-point line, and he was making the pay at times, which is why he was, shooting 44% from 3. So I think Jaylen Johnson is going to be a great player for the Warriors if they pick him up here. They have their two, the two backcourt tandem of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson coming back. Hopefully Klay Thompson is good. I think Jaylen Johnson would fit he would fit them to a T, man. I think he's a very, very good player. I think he'll go to the Warriors right there, and they have question marks on Oubre or Wiggins. He'll be a wing that they pick up right away, and I think I love Jaylen Johnson with the Warriors. At number 8, this might be a bit of a surprise. I have the Magic taking James Bouknight from UConn. Now, James Bouknight is a bucket, and I think that's exactly what the Orlando Magic need. I think they will. If I have them taking Jonathan Kuminga at 5, I think their defense is good enough where they don't really need, an excellent guard defender, which is why I didn't have them taking DaVon Mitchell. I think them getting a guy who can score the ball really, really well, which is what their front court lacks, I think would make up for their offensive issues in the front court, and then the defense of the front court could make up for the defense of the back court. I think they could work in tandem like that. James Bouknight is a very good scorer. His shooting, I think, is a bit misleading. Obviously his percentages don't look that great, but he was like the only guy shooting the ball at UConn. He didn't really have any teammates helping him like that. So I think he would come into the Magic and be an amazing player for them. Terrence Ross and Gary Harris are probably out the door very soon, and you have that guard tandem of Markelle and Cole at the 1, and then you have RJ Hampton and James Bouknight at the 2. I love that. And then you still have Chuma Okeke, who can play 3. You have Jonathan Isaac, and then you have Kuminga, you have Wendell Carter, you have Mo Bamba. I love that for the Magic. So I think James Bouknight is a very good fit for them. At 9, we have the Sacramento Kings, and then here I have them taking Franz Wagner, another one of my favorites out of Michigan. I've been a Michigan fan since I was born, basically, because my dad went to Michigan, and I grew up supporting Michigan. Now, obviously, I don't go to Michigan anymore, so I don't go to Michigan, so it's not like my number 1 school, but I still support Michigan because of my family ties to them. I watched Franz Wagner a lot. He's a very, very good player, solid player. I think he is probably the most versatile player in this draft. He's an amazing defender. He can bring the ball up the floor. He can make out of this world and his ball handling for his position is very, very smooth. He's athletic. He can shoot the ball. He can cut. He's a high IQ player, and I think the Kings should do what they did last year. Tyrese Halliburton fell into their lap as a very high IQ player, but a guy that not many people thought had that potential. And I think if they do that same thing, follow that same recipe, and take Franz Wagner, fill that wing void, and taking another high IQ player, pairing him alongside De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton for the future is a very, very nice sight for them, man. And I think instead of taking guys like a Marvin Bagley or people like that who have the potential but don't really have the NBA ready frames or bodies, or don't really have that high IQ type of play, I don't think that's a good idea for the Kings, because they've shown that they have success taking guys like Tyrese Halliburton last year. So I think that Franz Wagner would come in and fit the Kings to a T. At number 10, I probably have the biggest surprise here. The New Orleans Pelicans, they need shooting, man. I think they messed up last year. Kira Lewis is another one of my favorite players. He came out of Alabama, but I just really didn't think, that was a smart pick for the Pelicans. They had Lonzo Ball and Eric Bledsoe. I didn't think they need another guy who dominated the ball. I think they need a shooting, man. Shooting around Zion and Brandon Ingram. And I think they can take probably the best shooter in this draft right now. I have Corey Kissberg going to the Pelicans. I think you probably all know him from Gonzaga. He played with Jalen Suggs. He's an amazing shooter, and I think he would come in and shoot the ball extremely well. And I think he would be the shooting around Zion. You play Zion at whatever, point guard, point forward. He could kick it out to Corey Kispert, and I can imagine him rattling off 7 threes, 6 threes a game in his rookie year, and then eventually growing that number to about 9-10 threes a game. As far as attempts go, not as far as makes. I'm not saying he's gonna make 10 threes a game, but Corey Kispert could be a guy who's gonna come in. He's gonna come in right away and then shoot the ball, and that's what they need. He's gonna be a shooter for them. At number 11, I have the Hornets taking their position of need, and that's their center position. They have LaMelo, they have Rozier or Devontae Graham, they have Miles Bridges, they have PJ Washington who can stretch the floor. And then at the 5, I have them taking Isaiah Jackson out of Kentucky. I think he really complements that team a lot. He's a very versatile defender. He's not a shooter, but I don't think you need a shooter at that 5 spot, because you have PJ Washington stretching the floor at the 4 spot. He's the guy who does his damage inside. He's a lob threat, athletic guy for LaMelo throw lobs to. I think that's a great idea for them to do. So Isaiah Jackson at 11, I think, is a match made in heaven for the Hornets. At number 12, I have the Spurs taking another steal. Keon Johnson, I think, would fit the Spurs really, really well, man. I think the Spurs, they have, I'm pretty sure, one of the best shooting coaches in the NBA. Keon Johnson is a jump shot away from becoming one of the best players in this class. He has everything else. He's a very athletic player. He is a very gritty defender. A backcourt of him and DeJounte Murray defensively is a nightmare. And I think that I would take him. I think the Spurs, they took Devin Vassell. They took Keldon Johnson. Those are their wings for their future. As far as bigs are concerned, I did consider Kai Jones. I did consider Alperen Sengun from Turkey, but I think Keon Johnson is sitting in their lap, and it's a very Spurs type pick to take a guy who's been sitting in their lap and and take the steal of the draft. And Keon Johnson could be that, and I have him going to the Spurs. At number 13, I have DaVon Mitchell going to the Indiana Pacers. Another steal for me. I think that he's gonna be a guy who comes in. He's a little bit older, which I think fits the Pacers. They've banked on a lot of older players. Like Malcolm Brogdon was an older guy for his age, and I think that DaVon Mitchell, he's a very good defender. I think he's gonna come in and be a win now ready type player. And then the Pacers just hired a coach that's gonna help them win now, which is Rick Carlisle. And then having Rick Carlisle and DaVon Mitchell on the same team, I think is a very good fit for the Pacers, because DaVon Mitchell's an older rookie. He's not a younger guy. He's one of my favorite players in this draft. He's a very good defender. He can shoot the ball. Reminds me a lot of Marcus Smart coming out of college, but I don't really want to put that label on him, because Marcus Smart, he's a good defender, but I think DaVon Mitchell is a better scorer than Marcus Smart is. But coming out of college, Marcus Smart was a really good scorer. Don't get it twisted. Like coming out of Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, he was a 4th overall pick for a reason. So DaVon Mitchell, I think, is in that same mold. And I think pairing him, Malcolm Brogdon in the backcourt, you have Karis LeVert or TJ Warren or whatever, and then you have Sabonis and Turner. Or if you move on from Sabonis or Turner, like you still have that small ball lineup. I love that. So I have the Pacers taking DaVon Mitchell at 13. And lastly, at 14, to wrap up this video, I have the Warriors taking Moses Moody, a 3-and-D player that can really help Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. He can shoot the ball really well. He's a very good defender. He's in that Sadiq Bey mold, and I think that he can come in and help them right away, man. They took Jaylen Johnson with 7, but if they had to take a guy at 14, Moses Moody would be that guy. So that would be my pick for the Warriors, and that's my mock draft. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, this is a bit different because I'm doing it on the Heat Report. I'm not doing it on my second channel. Let me know if you guys enjoy this more, or if I should just leave NBA content to my second channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. As always, man, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below, and peace.